Yeah. All right. What do you think of that, Paul?
That was cool, dude. I like it. Short and sweet, very visually entertaining. I liked it.
A little jazzy, right?
A little jazzy.
I appreciate Paul McManus being here from McManus Kitchen Bath in Tallahassee, Florida. Kind of an A-lister in the world of remodeling, if I may say. Really appreciate you being here, man.
Thanks, man. I don't know about A-lister. It depends on who you're comparing yourself to, but I'll take it.
Well, and you're very, very involved in the remodeling community, you know, socially and networking wise. So, you know, even the commentary, or the critique of the entry sequence, means a lot because you're just so vested in the industry and always trying to improve stuff. So it's really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah. No, I legitimately liked it. I thought it was the perfect length. It was good. I hate intros that are too long. You know what I mean? I'll fast forward right through them. But
yeah, and I kind of, if you've ever been on our website, and you go to our portfolio, most of the projects have a name from an 80s TV show, like an 80s sitcom.
I've seen that page, but I don't think I made that link to that 80s reference.
Well, when we do our SEO analysis of the website, they're like, don't name it 80s TV shows. Name where the project is.
Right. Should say Kitchen in X. Right.
I watched a lot of sitcoms. So,
yeah. There's pros and cons, you know. We find in our SEO, like our project posts don't really rank that well. You know, they don't get as much. Locally, they get a lot of attention. Clients love them.
Yeah.
As far as SEO, they don't have a huge impact. Our blog has a much bigger impact. I'm not 100% sure why that is.
Well, I think it's definitely kind of a services-based SEO. And so if anybody, as we're talking nuts and bolts here a little bit, that's search engine optimization. So essentially, and Paul and I talk about this stuff all the time when it comes to marketing and obviously digital marketing and different methods there. But what we've always heard, and actually when our original current website was first built, there wasn't even a portfolio section because it really doesn't feed into that SEO aspect of it that is needed in the service industry. But, being a design facing, all the peer critique that we got is like, you have to show your work. So obviously we did, but
well, we get a ton of feedback from clients that it's their favorite part of the whole site.
Yeah, so the SEO is what's going to bring people to your site, and then the work and featuring photography and other stories is what's going to keep them intrigued and bouncing around your website, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some FAQs, but
who puts yours together? Your project summaries or case studies?
This guy.
You do it?
Yeah.
I do a lot of ours. I've handed it off to our marketing manager before, and if you don't have the experience, it loses a little flavor. You can't talk about the project as deeply.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right. So yeah, if you're, and when we submit for awards, Sarah, our director of design, usually writes them too, right? Because you're part of the entire process, and the problems that we're trying to be solved. The nuances that were involved. And I mean, that's true for all of our marketing for the most part, right? We know the story more than anybody else, which is why
it's what's been hard about blogs, because I handed off blog writing a long time ago, but then the quality of the blogs really goes down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more generic. And so I've actually come back to now writing some of them myself again to kind of bring it's all about the unique perspective. I think is what's most important, especially now with AI and everyone can write a blog in 15 seconds. That's SEO optimized and answers all your questions. I think you got to figure out a way to have a stronger voice, that stands out.
Yeah, and I think, and you and I were talking about this before in the green room, authenticity is pretty important to us in our businesses, right?
Yeah.
We're not necessarily trying to be gimmicky. And that might be like a little bit of head trash because it's not necessarily gimmicky to get people in the door, right? Like the guy spinning the sign and then they come into something special.
Yeah,
but
you gotta get it first.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hard balance. And the design community deals with it all the time, right? If you go to architects smaller architects, they don't even want to necessarily invest in their website, right? Because in their heads, this might be a pretty blanket statement, but that whole marketing front is almost, or the word sales is a gimmick.
Oh, it doesn't jive with their artistic sensibilities, sort of.
Right. Yeah. And so I think we run into that a little bit, but I do think, this is my opinion, but in the world of AI, which is an incredible tool, and so powerful on so many levels, it also opens up a door to that authenticity, right? Something that is very, very real. Now, of course, AI keeps up with that pretty well.
Yeah. AI's, I'm kind of, every day my belief becomes firmer that AI is just going to ruin marketing for everybody.
Well, on the note of the project summaries or the project descriptions, so I have used ChatGPT to upload before photos and after photos and have it write something. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good at kind of understanding what changed and like bringing in sunlight and different things of that nature.
I use it all the time for stuff like that. But then you still take it and put your own twist on it. But it's a great idea generator. I mean, I'm not anti-AI. I do think it's going to completely change the landscape of marketing.
Oh yeah.
I think what we do now is going to become, I don't even want to, it's not even the baseline. It's just going to be like everyone's going to be able to do what we do now for free at the click of a button, effortlessly. Have a robust website that tells your story and has a blog every week and project case studies, and all that's just going to be, pay someone $100 a month and they use an AI and they do all that. I think it's going to be so standard. The question is, then what? Now what do I do? I can't, because for years, for 10 years of this business, we've competed on the fact that we're really good at website and content marketing. And that's, I think, going away.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think, like how many companies in our competing market have a blog post on cost for a remodel or an addition in your area?
Yeah, probably not
every
many.
Single one of them.
Yeah. Well, in my area, probably not many, but that's my thing. It will change.
Yeah, right.
We'll just be templated and say, what do you need? You need a website for Tallahassee? Oh, here, AI, do it, done. There's your page, there's everything. It'll have, the problem with contractors is they don't either they don't know the value of marketing or they don't care. They believe, a lot of contractors, at least around here, believe in word of mouth more than anything. And so that handicaps them. But I think that's just it's going to become so low hanging fruit and so inexpensive, everyone will just do it.
Yeah, so then that's kind of an even playing field. So where do you differentiate above that, right?
Yeah.
Part of it, I would say, would be the project portfolio aspects, right?
The flip side of that, to me, that I struggle with is getting people to read the website. Seems like that's getting harder and harder. People are doing less and less research.
Yeah.
In that way, and that's a struggle. We get a ton of calls. They've never been to our website. You just Google, see 5 stars, call. And a huge percentage of those are not a good fit. And if they just spent, I think if they spent 30 seconds on our website, they would self-select. You know what I mean?
Well, that's, part of our sequence, right? I think we've talked about this. I'm pretty sure I've sent you our email sequence.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's part of it, right? Is proactive ways to get people more information about who you are and what you do outside of like read my website.
Or just calling. There's no the initial point of contact is the phone call.
Right.
That's the problem. If you schedule a call, which is that's our favorite way for people to contact us. If you go to our contact page, all you see is schedule a call. Like the form is way down the page. Like we don't want you to call directly, ideally. If you schedule a call, yes, then we send you some information, ask you to go review some stuff. We have an assessment that we ask people to do, and that stuff's valuable. But the challenge I'm seeing, people just call, or nowadays more and more people are texting. Those are super even more annoying.
Yeah, I didn't look. Do you have a chatbot on your website?
I used to. I experiment with them every 6 months or so. I just took it down. mostly because nobody was using it. We had it up for 4 or 5 months. It was a really good one. I liked it, but nobody was using it, so we just took it down.
Yeah, I was curious about that because I use them all the time.
Do you?
But it's different, right? So if I'm in a hotel, I don't call the front desk. I use a little chat feature.
Yeah, for customer service, I think they're essential. But we do a heat map on our website, and it can show you where people are clicking and how far they're scrolling and all that kind of stuff. And the number one click on our homepage was to close the chatbot.
That's good. Yeah. So, what's the name of the heat map software you use?
Right now, I'm using Lucky Orange.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I
We
used
looked at it once.
I used to use a different one, but they're all more or less the same. Lucky Orange has a few extra bells and whistles that I kind of like.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because we're doing a full website rebuild that should be out this month.
I gotcha. I mean, it's just a plugin.
Yeah.
You turn it on and off as you wish. Like it's the same with heat maps. I'll use them like for 6 months, and then I'll just get rid of it. You don't need it all the time. It's just good. Once you've done a month or two of heat map tracking, you kind of know it doesn't change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of know when people are closing the chatbot.
Yeah, unless you change something dramatic about the site, it's generally not going to change.
When you did some other A/B testing, I'm not sure if you're still doing it or not, but in-person meetings or virtual meetings, are you still testing both of those? And what are the results?
We're back to, we used to be on our site, used to be able to schedule a phone call or schedule a video call. People had the choice, and so few people schedule a video call. We just took it off. And what was often happening is people would schedule a video call by mistake. They just misunderstood or something. And then I would be on the video call, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm not sure why I did a video call, just because. And I'm like, oh, okay. It wasn't adding value. And to do a video call, I have to be here in front of the computer versus a phone call. I can kind of be anywhere. That made a difference.
That's cool.
Yeah, we tried it. I know you do most of yours virtual.
Yeah.
I would love to, because you can provide a lot more value on a video call.
Yeah, I mean, I share my screen. I'm able to talk through previous projects. We show them a little bit under the hood, right? Stuff that they can't necessarily see on the website.
Yeah.
In terms of kind of the back end of our process and how we get there. So I think it's pretty valuable, and we try and do it in 30 minutes, which is mostly listening to what they're talking about. I should pull up every house we can pretty much find on Realtor.com or Zillow, so I can pull it up and then look at Google Maps too and have a 3D view.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of back end research, and then pretty much see all the photos of the interior.
Yeah.
So they're talking about their spaces. I'm showing them a photo of their space. So it's pretty cool these days.
Might be something to revisit, but it could be different too, because the scope of work is a little different for you than it is for us.
Yeah.
We're often getting a lot of calls. People think they just want a quick kitchen remodel, like a pull and replace. Now, ultimately, they usually, when they work with us, they wind up doing something significant. But their initial thought is pretty quick and simple, because they just don't understand,
Yeah, and once you realize there's nothing easy about any work done inside your house.
But when they're calling you, imagine they're already sort of in the mindset of, we're doing something significant. They might not know exactly what, but because you're architect driven, I would think that might be a difference.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, probably our bread and butter client type is one where they absolutely love their house. They love their neighbors. It's an older house. They need to do work to it. They need more space.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do to it. Like, they literally have no idea. So what can we do with their house? So we kind of spitball some general ideas and show. I don't know what it's going to be, but I show you how our process gets to something that we think is really special.
Yeah. What do you get? How does it work? What's your experience with? Do they have a pretty good cost expectation, your clients, when they're calling you, or is it like ours get crazy? We get people who think it's going to cost $20,000 and it's a $130,000 project. It can be dramatically off.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I'd say I say more often than not, people just don't know.
Yeah.
And most of the people that are calling us, have a level of of wherewithal to invest in their house. Now they have, typically they don't want to go too crazy, but we're talking $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 typically.
Yeah.
And they feel like they can probably go pretty far with that. For the most part, you can, right? We can probably get there. We're not going to do some massive addition, but there's a lot we can do with that. And first we can look at the interior of the space. But kind of like your assessment, we have the questionnaire, which asks the question, do you have a general budget in mind?
Yeah.
I've always liked that language because it doesn't say what's your budget. It doesn't make you choose a budget range. Yeah. It allows you the freedom to say yes, no, I have no idea, $50,000.
Or
and if they say $50,000, I'm still going to have the conversation with them. And I'm going to preface it with $50,000 really isn't going to go that far.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're just putting a number out there, and more often than not, we're like, we didn't have no idea.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
I just had a call this morning with a nice gentleman. He called us because he just wanted a couple closets done. We do closet furniture, but usually only as part of a primary bathroom model or something. But because it's on our website, we'll get calls. People just want closets done. And we usually have to explain, like, you don't want us to do that because it's going to cost $30,000, and you can get it done for 10.
I'm surprised you haven't built out a closet business.
Yes, I just haven't.
Because I always felt like
closets aren't my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But and we're trying to scale up, not scale down. I want to do fewer projects, larger, not a bunch of small ones. But anyway, in the conversation, because we charge for our estimates, he said, well, we've been also thinking about a bathroom remodel. And I was like, well, if you want to combine them, I'll look at both at once. Even if you're not going to do the bath right away, at least you'll have an idea. And he's like, yeah, I've had a couple people look at it. They've told me it's going to be very expensive because it's really big. He's like, it's probably the biggest bathroom you've ever seen. And I was like, well, okay, maybe. But I said, okay, well, what are you hearing from people? And he goes, people are telling me it's going to be at least $34,000. And I was like, whoa.
Or tile?
And I told him, I said, well, look, just to reframe this for you, I was like, like a small master bath is going to start at $65,000. You know what I mean? I would suggest a large master bath, you're 95 to 125 pretty easily if it's as big as you're letting me know. And I was like, anyone telling you 35, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm just going to tell you that. That's a fact. They don't know what they're talking about, and I would not use them. And he was shocked. He said, well, there's no way I could afford that. And I was like, well, then don't remodel your bathroom. But that's the expectation. Like, it's crazy, the wild expectations we get. And that there are people out there saying, oh yeah, I would do that for $34,000.
Well, there might be an option to do something for $34,000, right? The tub stays. We're just going to replace.
Yeah, maybe if it's big, but
I don't know. But it is pretty amazing.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of partial remodels. I don't know what your philosophy.
No,
but I tell people all the time, I was like, no, don't do a half bathroom. Just don't.
Yeah.
Save your money and do it right. You're not going to be happy with a partial. Like, you'll be happy for 6 months, and then the same problems still exist, and you're going to be unhappy, and you will have spent $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and you're still unhappy. Like, save some money, do it once, be happy.
No, I agree. That's what people typically call us for, or you for that matter. And it is pretty amazing and you're a designer as well. So I'm guessing you're kind of a construction optimist. That's how I am. In my head, it's not that complicated.
Right.
And when you tear that bathroom apart and you realize, like, all these trades that have to go, and in Chicago, it's all in metal conduit, and we got copper piping and all this stuff that goes into it. And then you're like, that's why it costs that much money. Yeah. Now that makes sense, right? This is a crazy amount of work for this little space, and everything is highly detailed and very specific. And
timeline gets me too with people that say, well, how long do you think this will take? Like, say a hall bathroom remodel. It's about as simple as it gets. 5x8, 5x9, tub shower, little vanity. And they said, well, how long does this take? I was like, 5 weeks. I'm like, Jesus, 5 weeks. I had a guy in here last said he would do it in 2 weeks. And I was like, well, that guy's crazy. Like, I don't know what he's doing in 2 weeks, but you can't do it. I was like, yeah, we will take a little longer because we're subcontractor driven, and I I can't do the electric and the plumbing and the HVAC all in one day. I have to do it over 3 days. But it's just, yeah, I struggle with that the most these days, seems like, is the expectations are so, you know, and I don't feel like it's our marketing, because our marketing has always been pretty on point. I don't know what it is. But I just figured
TV maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to figure out a solution though, because I feel like for some reason lately, I feel like we're not reaching the right clientele. And it seems like just this year that's happened. We have not had that problem in the past. But
What in the past? So how long have you guys been in business?
10 years. This might be year 11. What's this, 2025? No, this is year 10.
Yeah, so we're pretty similar age-wise. We're 13 years old, but we really didn't get into design, build, remodeling until probably 10 years ago in any major scale. What would you say? Walk me through what McManus Kitchen and Bath looked like 10 years ago, year one, versus what you guys look like today.
Oh yeah, geez. I was just thinking about that the other day because I was looking back at something. Oh, I was talking to a buddy of mine that we used to work together. 10 years ago, I was one-man show, basically self-performing a lot.
You were the guy doing the plumbing and electrical, and
well, I would sub out anything licensed. I subbed.
Yeah.
Even like things like I hated doing drywall. I would sub out drywall, but I was basically like a lead carpenter on my own jobs. That didn't last long. That probably lasted, what happened was, we must take it a step back. For about 5 years, I was a tour director. I ran these international bicycle tours. So I wasn't in the business at all. Prior to that, I was more like a handyman kind of guy, but I had my contractor's license. But then I did this touring thing for 5 years, gone. I was out of the country most of the time. I came back, restarted the business. For 6 months, I was just what else are you gonna do? I got no work. I'm getting one job at a time. So I self-performed, but I probably only did 3 or 4 jobs that way. And then I started hiring guys to do the lead carpenter stuff so that I could focus on selling and marketing and that kind of stuff. That probably lasted 6 months. And then I decided I did not like having these in-house guys, and we switched to a subcontractor model. And then we opened the showroom. So 2015, I kind of started. 2016 is when I first opened the showroom.
Okay.
And I opened the showroom. It was not part of the grand plan, but I'm in this. You'd have to see where we are, but I'm in this storage center. And the reason I'm there because they have flex space. They have warehouses with offices, and that's what I leased. It was a warehouse with an office. But there was this corner unit that this tax service had that's right on the street, and the owner of the complex, we got along really well, and she came to me one day and said, "Hey, that tax service is leaving. You should go open a showroom." And I was like, "You're crazy. I don't want to open a showroom." But she kind of talked me into it. And then I went and opened the showroom because we were doing design build, but in a real half-assed way. Like I was doing the design. We had a few samples that I could carry to clients, but it was really kind of half-assed.
How did you pay for the showroom?
The nice thing is it's cheap. So when I first only leased about 1,000 square feet, I don't remember what it cost, but it was probably $1,000 a month or something. Like it was very inexpensive.
But then building it out, was it?
By little. I have to go back. I was looking at pictures not too long ago. Like I bought a cheap ass IKEA desk and I put it in the middle of the space. And I had like 5 samples.
Yeah. We still have lots of IKEA file cabinets.
Yeah.
IKEA conference tables. Hey, it does the trick.
It does it. And clients honestly didn't mind. You know what I mean? They'd come. They did. No one else was in our area anyway. No one else was even doing that. The only way you met with a contractor was they came to your house. A lot of contractors around here still work out of their home. And so it was still something different even then. And we had big computers. A lot of it was just computer driven. We could show them the 3D renders. We could show them products on the showroom screen. And then I just slowly started little by little. I tell everyone, I'm sure it's similar for you. Like, had I known how much it would cost and how hard it would have been to get that showroom to where it, is today, I probably never would have started. But in my mind at the time, I was like, sure, how hard could it be?
That's the optimism, or the ignorance is bliss mentality, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's
Crazy.
the confidence of youth. Yeah, through a lot of times. But it was a labor of love. I mean, I enjoyed, every minute of building out that showroom.
When did you hire your first designer? Was it early or?
Yeah, so probably, she's very quick. So probably mid 2016. As soon as the showroom was up and running, we started getting more and more clients. I pretty much had to hire someone. And so, I hired this young lady, Caitlin, who was a statistician. Like her degree was in like actuarial sciences or something weird like that. But she worked at Home Depot and got some training at Home Depot, which Home Depot does good training when it comes to kitchen design. They at least they used to. And so she was our first designer. She was great. She helped me build our current, what is now our good, better, best, our whole estimate sheet, which is sort of the core of everything we do. She helped build that because she had the statistics background and all of that. So her fingerprints are all over that thing. And the rest is kind of history. Then it was just slowly but surely.
Well, on that note, and that's kind of interesting, how did you learn the business along the way, and how much of that was by bringing in people that had done this stuff before and kind of built out that aspect?
That's a good question. I think the way I'm sort of built, almost everything is driven by me. I didn't have the talent to build that sheet as robustly as Caitlin did, so I certainly credit her with that. But she was the technician on that, not the driving force behind it. You know what I mean? How did I learn the business? Just step by step. I mean, through peers, through groups like Kyle's group, the remodelers community. We joined Sen early on, like very early on. I joined the Sen design group, which they're geared around teaching people how to open kitchen and bath showrooms. That's sort of their whole reason for being. And so a lot of my initial vendors, a lot of my ideas for how to build out the showroom came from them. The whole good, better, best estimate concept came from them because that's what they pitch. And they have a whole software to do it, although we wound up not using their software. The game changer for me, I think what made the biggest difference was just charging correctly. And I read Markup and Profit probably in 2015. I bet late 2015, I read Markup and Profit, and I suddenly was like, holy crap, I felt like an idiot, for not charging appropriately all these damn years before. And I just slowly started putting that into practice and raising prices. And then, money solves all problems. You can make a ton of mistakes if you have money. You know what I mean? You take a lot of risk if you have enough money. You can power through a lot of things if you have enough money, and charging appropriately is a big part of that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to maneuver and do anything if you're ending every year at zero or less, right? So if you're just trying to run a business to break even without any profitability and just to pay yourself, you're literally never going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
and then when you hit a bump in the road, you're done.
There's only so many hours in a day. I mean, back then, I'm sure just like you in the beginning, I was working 7 days a week, 10, 12, whatever it took. It was a labor of love. I liked every minute of it. It wasn't a sacrifice for me at all.
Right. You were building something.
But you don't have any money, you got to work your butt off. You got to put in all those hours. But there's still only so many hours in a day. You can't outwork those problems if you're not charging enough. Sooner or later, you got to have the funds.
Well, we're almost at time here, but I have kind of a very hypothetical question, but it's something I posed it to Brian Sebring and some of his peers that I hop on phone calls every now and then. Nobody's answered it yet, and I think about it a lot. If someone gave you $1 million to invest in your business, what would you do with it?
Ooh.
Most people say they would retire.
I mean, that's
like
First thought that jumped in my head was like, yeah, I would just cap off my
right. Financial maneuvers. Now you got $1 million to invest in the business. What are you doing?
If you had to invest it in the business, I'm wondering if, because my short, mid, and long-term goal is, inside of 5 years, I just want to be out of the business. And that's either going to be shutting it down or handing it off to someone in some kind of earn-out, buyout situation. So I would probably use it to try and accelerate that process. Although part of me, aside from retiring, the very next thing that popped into my head was I would like to do what you do and try an architect-driven approach to design build, because no one here is doing that. There's architects and there's contractors, but there's no architecture-driven design build.
Well, it's similar in North Carolina, right? It's kind of it's a different animal, which I think is hard to get footing here. It's easier just to be an architect or just
I think that might have some opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one for me because I have this 5-year time horizon. So what would $1 million do for me in 5 years? I'm not sure. It would do much. I mean, we're going to move showrooms, and that's going to cost some money. I would use it for that, but we're going to do that without the $1 million. Doesn't really matter. But so yeah, if I had $1 million, what would I do?
I mean, how much would you put into marketing or outsourcing stuff?
Nothing. I mean, I don't know that I need to do any of that. I mean, our marketing is good. I'm happy. I don't know that I could spend much more on marketing and have it be effective. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. It would probably take some thought. It could be a very different business.
That's what I was always wondering. Like, do you build out a handyman? Do you use it to invest in a different, entity that supports the ecosystem?
Oh, you know what I would do? But again, it's the 5-year timeline that's going to hurt me, because I want to get out.
Forget the 5-year timeline.
If I got rid of that, my dream 5 years ago that we never executed, but COVID kind of threw a wrench into it, and I just never got back to it, was I really want to build a space like a plaza where our showroom would be the center of it, but then we would have all these flex spaces, just warehouses and offices, and I would just move all my subcontractors into those spaces. And so it would be like a Home Depot for services kind of thing, where your electricians and your plumbers and your tile guys and all that, and we would provide the central admin, which most of those guys are terrible at. So we could handle their marketing and scheduling and provide a conference space and centralized training and all that kind of stuff. And they could just do what they like doing, which is installing tile or, hanging drywall or whatever. I would probably do something like that.
Yeah, it was somewhat similar. I always thought it'd be fun to own like a 3-flat or something.
Yeah.
That our clients could move into while they're.
Yeah, I thought about that.
We can make a reality TV show out of it.
Yeah.
Like the real world.
I talked to someone who does that. Have an Airbnb. I think it was Jeff Forward told me he has an Airbnb that he lets clients use.
That'd be super cool. I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily growing the business, but it supports it.
It's more of a loss leader. Like you'd probably break even on the Airbnb, but yeah. I think a Home Depot for services could be pretty awesome. I don't know if you make money on it though. You'd have to get all of your subs. They'd have to raise their prices enough to support that central admin, part of it.
Yeah, I think the first thing I would do would be to find a high-level fractional CFO strategic thinker.
Yeah.
I think I would invest in someone who understands that world that can then help understand where we should spend the rest of the money.
There you go.
It's kind of like if someone gave you a wish, what would your one wish be? Well, it would be to have an infinite number of wishes.
Right. Yeah. You're going to game the system there. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to invest in someone that's going to help us figure out how to strategically.
Yeah. I would also go another route and say, because again, like our industry is in real trouble. And mostly it's because the business owners in this industry, aren't super savvy. They're not running businesses. They have jobs where they happen to work for themselves. So they don't hire and train. They're not building the future. They're just trying to earn enough money until one day they can retire. It's just a job, and good at the job, but bad at the business.
Well, there's another opportunity to invest in purchasing another company.
Well, I would rather like more broadly try to solve that problem, like with education and training. Like that might be interesting thing to do, is have a training space, an educational space that's hyper local.
Yeah.
You know, for that.
I think there's definitely something to that, right?
Yeah, because like my Florida guy's, I mean, he's awesome. He's just a bad businessman.
Yeah.
He's not growing. He's just relying on contractors feeding him business. My tile guy's the same way. My drywall guy's the same way. They're fantastic. They're just bad at the business side of things.
Yeah, and that's
I'm having my house painted right now, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you, but great guy. Probably still doing the best job I've ever seen a painter do on the outside of my house. Real care with the prep, ton of work into the sanding and the scraping, like fantastic. He's not here today. No text. I texted him last night, hey, what time tomorrow? No response. 11 o'clock in the morning, he's not here. I texted him right before we jumped on. He said, oh yeah, sorry, I had to go run and do this little ceiling job. I'll be back tomorrow. And I'm like, and I'm surprisingly understanding about that, even though if it was for one of my projects, I would fire you for that. But when it's on my house, I'm pretty patient. And I like I'm willing to sacrifice that communication because of the quality of work he's doing. But it's him and his daughter-in-law, and they can't grow because that's how he behaves. You know, and if he'd only understand that, he could be running a $4 million a year painting company. You know, and he's got to be 45. His joints ache. You know what I mean? He's tired of being on ladders all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of feel for those guys. They're good people. You know, but he's going to reach the point where he can't paint anymore, and he doesn't have any other skills, and he's going to be in real trouble. And I feel like that problem has got to get solved. You know,
I think there's something to that, right? And I mean, I guess, you know, labor unions exist for that reason, right? But there's
no unions in Tallahassee, but yeah.
Yeah. And you know, this, in my head, this is somewhat related, but maybe not. You're a fan of The Simpsons, right? We talked about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one when Homer, I don't know what happened, but he decided, like, the garbage men, and I'm not trying to compare the construction industry to the garbage men, right? Yeah. But like the garbage men were, the trucks were so dirty, and you know, they wore these gross uniforms and all that, and he really wanted to class up the garbage pickup service. Okay. I think this is how it went, something like this. Yeah. So it was like, became a white glove garbage pickup service, and in my head, he's wearing like the white suit with the gold things on the shoulder and all that, and it was like, in essence, to really make this way more professional and way more higher end experience in the garbage pickup. And then of course it was crazy expensive, and I think like Springfield went bankrupt and all this stuff. Right. And that's kind of your point on the overall, it's all connected, right? Because in the overall pricing,
it's a reality. Yeah, I was just talking.
We're already struggling with a market of people that are like, how can a bathroom cost more than $35,000? Like,
yeah, but like a towel guy, like he should make six figures. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's a hard, high skill job.
Yeah, they go crazy a lot.
$30,000 a year, pretty easily. And his assistants, you know, his helpers should be making $75,000 a year. You know what I mean? It's just a hard job, and all trades I think are like that. But again, like you said, if you do that, if you raise everyone's pricing to that level, yeah, now a whole bathroom model costs $75,000. You know, like,
yeah, and then no one can do it.
But we're in a position right now where only the owners make money. Like if you own a tile company, you make the money. If you own a drywall company, you make the money. But the people doing the work, you know, they're making 50, 60 grand a year, and you can't, unfortunately, you're going nowhere with that kind of salary. You know what I mean? You're not going to retain people.
Yeah.
Not gonna, then they're not investing in training and opportunity for these people. And so so what are you gonna do? I mean, I don't know what the options are there. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that is where the $1 million goes. I mean, when I've tried to pull up QuickBooks before and just see like, how much do we pay our plumber every year?
Yeah, I do that every year.
And he doesn't work, 40 hours a week for us. He does other work.
And so
can't we just have a plumber work for us and work 1 day a week and we pay him?
for us, it was something like 85, 90 grand last year for us. And I was like, I could hire a plumber for 80 grand a year and he'd probably be pretty happy.
And work 1 to 2 days a week, right?
But that guy, we have maybe 5 or 6 jobs going at once. And that becomes the challenge is my current plumbing company can be on 2 jobs at once. If I hire the guy, he cannot. And that's the rub.
Yeah. No, and we're the same way with subcontractor model. I mean, it gives us the fluidity and the flexibility.
Plus,
right?
you would need an assistant, but
certain plumbers are better for different jobs, right? Different scales.
Yeah,
different project types. It allows them the flexibility to say, no, I can't do it. And then we have somebody else, right? So,
yeah, definitely have. I mean, there's plumbers who we only use for septic. There's plumbers that we only use for, whole home repipes. And then there's the guys we use for high service, remodels.
Our construction team has done a good job to do the trade appreciation day every year and really just try and build out a little bit more, trade experience. Our big theme this year is experience. We're building out client experience, employee experience, right?
That's fun.
Really trying to bring everything up to the level of what it is in our heads.
I really wish we could get, training is the big one. You do too. We invest heavily in training for our staff, but subs don't. Even our electricians and plumbers, they really don't. I don't know we have a big problem around here with appliance install, especially high-end appliances like Sub-Zero Wolf. There are companies who specialize in it, but they're not licensed. And then the electricians and plumbers who are licensed,
so they have to leave.
They're not.
Like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't hook this wire up. I'm like, really?
Yeah, exactly. Or they do, but then there's an insurance issue. Obviously, there's a liability issue. And so I was talking to my electrician. I was like, hey, why don't we get you guys certified by Wolf? And they're like, no, we're not ready. We don't have the time to send our guys to a training. And I'm like, I almost want to say, look, I'll pay for it. But they're just not interested. Same with closets. One of our subs that does a lot of our cabinetry. I said, hey, there's this great closet training for one of our closet lines. I'm sending my project manager. You guys want to go? We can cover the hotel room. You guys can share. No, we don't have time to do that. And that's challenging, for me, especially when you're trying to be a higher end service, and things are getting harder and harder. They're getting more and more complicated to install.
Yeah. No, it's nuts. The different appliance installs and all the panel ready stuff is just
appliances. I'm sure you have installed like a Cove dishwasher. It's like Sub-Zero's dishwasher brand.
I don't know that we've done one of those.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah.
You have to have training to install those, or you cannot install it.
There's usually the plumber does it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Plumber can't. He doesn't know how. You have to do certain, and I'm not an expert on it, but you have to do certain things in a certain order, or you break them. It's a $3,000 fucking dishwasher, and you break it. You can't let your 25-year-old plumbing tech handle that when he's out there plumbing the sink.
Yeah, and we lived, when we first moved down here to the Raleigh area, we rented in a pretty new Pulte home.
Uh-huh.
And I definitely, as much as the things drove me crazy about it, I definitely had an appreciation for why they did things certain ways, right? And it was for that reason.
Yeah.
It was an attempt to bring a level of design to something that could just be done by a regular tradesman, right?
Yeah.
It does everything from the drywall on the island to the corner pantry to how the fridge sits inside of the cabinet, where the dish, all of this stuff was engineered to a level where there is no special training required.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes dumb down, maybe that part of that solution, maybe that's sort of the Russian brutalism movement. Let's just build everything out of fucking concrete, and you're just gonna it's easy. I mean, honestly, when I lived in Africa, that's what they do in Africa. Just fucking pour the thing out of concrete, and that's it. It's dead simple.
It's half the price. Yep.
Yeah.
Because one person can do it. Dude, we went way long, but we could, as we were talking about Joe Rogan before, we could Joe Rogan it, but I know we got to get back to work here.
You and I could talk forever about this stuff.
Yeah.
Always
I
fun.
really appreciate you hopping on super short notice. Anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to make sure that we covered?
No, man, I'm good. It was easy, fun conversation. If I could start on something, we'd be here for another 20 minutes. So
I know we were going to talk. I'll have you on again. We'll talk about podcasts and how the reason I have a podcast is because I had 3 years of trying to figure out what to do for a podcast, and said, you know what? I'm just going to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, this is encouraging me because I think that's what I just need to do is pull the trigger and start talking to people.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. I appreciate it, man. If anybody wants to find you, what's our best route?
Oh, website's easiest. McManusKitchenandBath.com. You can contact us through there. Yeah, at McManus on Instagram if you want, but we don't do a ton with Instagram. We're not as good as you guys at it anyway.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Matt and Becky at Rough Bones do all that for us now. They're doing a fantastic job. I need to have them on. That's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, man. Nice.
All right, man. Always great talking to you. Thanks again.
Yeah, Dave. Take care.
Later.